The one where Loomis finally surpasses Michael on the crazy scale. Hey everybody, welcome to Mainly Movies. As part of the 2021 edition of my 13 Nights of Halloween series, today I'm going to be talking about the 1989 slasher sequel, Halloween 5: The Revenge of Michael Myers. If you're new here, please consider subscribing for a variety of movie-related content like reviews, rank lists, and trailer reactions. All my reviews include a breakdown of the pros and cons, my rating, and some tailored film recommendations, so be sure to watch through to the end of this video for all of that extra content. Halloween 5: The Revenge of Michael Myers stars Pleasence, Danielle and Wendy Kaplan, and was directed by Dominique Othenin-Girard. 1 year after the events of Halloween 4, Michael Myers is back, seeking revenge on those who wronged him in order to quell the rage inside. Here we are, finally getting into the heart of the Halloween sequels, and into the heart of some of the worst films in the franchise. Halloween 5: The Revenge of Michael Myers is another fairly aptly named movie, featuring Michael Myers seeking revenge on those who tried to kill him in the previous film, and also on a lot of random, completely unrelated people. So, like pretty much every other Halloween sequel. This movie is a direct sequel to Halloween 4, and serves as the middle film of the Jamie-centric Thorn trilogy. And although it's a touch better than the film to follow, it's a big step down from its predecessor. Halloween 4 is far from a great film. It's full of bizarre choices and illogical plot conveniences, but for the fourth film of a horror franchise, it's not too bad. That film managed to capture some of what made the original movie so good, and did some interesting things with the story, especially with its shocking ending. That finale set up for what could have been an exciting new direction for this franchise to take, only to have Halloween 5 completely drop the ball. Seriously, this is a Tommy Doyle with a pumpkin level of droppage. I'm not going to spoil the ending of Halloween 4, so I've got to be a little vague here, but this film does nothing interesting to continue that story point. In fact, it seems to backtrack a bit, retconning certain components of that ending so they have a lot less impact. It also throws in a strange supernatural psychic element to it all. As dumb as it is, that still could have resulted in something potentially interesting, but even that gets wasted within this underwhelmingly cobbled together story. As a direct sequel, Halloween 5 features a number of returning characters, all of which manage to be nearly unrecognizable. Rachel, who was my favorite character in Halloween 4, is awful here and wasted as a character. She was so competent in the last film, even surpassing Halloween 1 Laurie Strode on that front. Yet here, she's completely vapid and obliviously unconcerned about anything. Jamie gets about the same amount of screen time as the last film at least, maybe even a little more, but her character is also handled poorly here. She too is largely wasted, at least in the first half, due to a bizarre writing choice, which is just as bizarrely reversed halfway through the film. Jamie definitely has a handful of good moments in that second half, and is a big part of probably the most thrilling sequence in the film, but it's not enough to make up for all the other scenes that come before it. Since we're talking about returning characters, we've obviously got to discuss Loomis. My feelings on this particular character have always been pretty mixed. I've always thought he was a little over the top and unnecessarily dramatic, even going back to the first film. But his borderline insanity has also been pretty entertaining to me, so I've enjoyed him in the series for the most part. But Halloween 5 is where that ends for me. His scar is much more consistent this time around, but Loomis goes off the deep end here. He's completely nuts, constantly getting right up in the face of a 9-year-old, yelling about murder and bodies piling up, following people around, using little kids as bait, over-dramatically yelling, "Die, die, die!" You know he's gone too far when characters in the film are so weirded out by him that they tell him he's creepy right to his face. Just like the protagonists, Michael Myers has also undergone a bit of a change between Halloween 4 and 5. In the previous film, Michael was almost back to his Halloween 1 personality. He was a little more creative with his kills, and a bit more athletic, but certainly an improvement over the zombie Michael of Halloween 2. But here in Halloween 5, he's neither of those things, and just feels so weird. He has all these complex plans and schemes going. He spies on people without immediately trying to kill them. He creates weirdly elaborate scenarios to get close to people. He drives around in a car a lot. Admittedly, he's got some fun kills in this one, but the character doesn't feel like Michael Myers anymore. This is only further exacerbated by the film's attempts at humanizing him. We get scenes where he seems conflicted or remorseful, ones where he voluntarily takes his mask off. There's even tears. Not really what you'd expect from the character with the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. And don't even get me started on that mask. Somehow, it's even worse than Halloween 4's. It's weirdly shaped and rarely tucked in or fully closed up, so it literally just looks like somebody's uncle dressed up in a costume. Even though it's a largely dull affair, Halloween 5 does have occasional moments that I enjoy. They're few and far between, but there are a handful of scenes that have a little bit of tension to them, where you almost get a flash of classic Halloween. The sequence in the Myers house turned mansion is probably the best and most effective example of this. There are some suspenseful and creepy moments there, just bookended by really dumb ones. The kittens in the barn scene will always be the most memorable part of this film for me, though. Probably for a slightly different reason than most. I never saw any of the Halloween sequels in their entirety until I was a teenager. I had seen bits and pieces of some of them on TV when I was younger, but this barn scene was the one that really stuck in my mind. At the time, I didn't even know what the movie was, so it wasn't until I was in college and finally watching this through for the first time that I had that moment of epiphanic nostalgia. That tiny bit of nostalgia aside, there's not a whole lot to like about this movie. It's such a disjointed mess. There are so many random, bizarre ideas, so many things that are out of character or completely out of line with what the franchise had previously established, and so many things that just straight up make no sense at all. If you thought Halloween 4 was bad on that front, whew man. We still don't get any answers here. Instead, we end up with more questions. What's up with the whole psychic connection thing? What's the deal with the tattoo? Who is this mysterious man in black? We're shown all of these things, but most of them have no bearing on the story, and none of them are even remotely explored or explained. We get some ridiculous expansion in Halloween 6, but it's all just utter nonsense here. This movie feels exceptionally aimless. It's the first truly disappointing film in the Halloween franchise for me, but sadly, not the last. Alright, let's talk about the pros and cons. Really, the only pro here has gotta be the occasional tense moment. Overall, this is not a tense movie. It's definitely on the boring side, and doesn't really build any sort of atmosphere or mood. It kind of just plods along for the most part. But every now and then, we get a tiny glimpse of something good. A small moment that reminds you you're actually watching a Halloween movie. The sequence with Jamie in the Myers house is probably the best example of this, but I'll admit I've always been partial to that barn kitten scene. On the con side, the biggest issue here is one that this film shares with its predecessor. It doesn't make any sense. There were some big jumps in logic in Halloween 4, but it's just out of hand here. Michael's continued existence is absurd, as was the decision to take the story arc down the path it goes, rather than jumping off of its predecessor's fantastic ending. But this movie is also just a jumbled mess, introducing things as if they're gonna have some importance or significance, and repeatedly reminding you of them throughout the film, but then doing absolutely nothing with them. I realize some of that gets expanded on in Halloween 6, but it's clear that they didn't even know what they were trying to set up for in this film. Con number 2 is Michael Myers himself. What were they thinking? What did they do to this character? He's pretty much unrecognizable, physically and characteristically. That mask is awful, and looks like some mediocre cosplayer walked onto set. But what's much, much worse here is the change to Michael's personality and character. He was always this embodiment of pure evil. He didn't have clear motivations, and just mowed down anything that got in his linear path. In this movie, he does a lot of scheming, and has all these weirdly elaborate plans to get close to people. He also spends a good deal of time driving around in a car. Plus, there are these weird, shallow attempts to humanize the character. It's not like we're given any information about him. He's just suddenly presented as somebody who's doing all of this because of the rage and pain inside, and out of nowhere, he's almost remorseful, or at least conflicted at times. The third con is another character-based one, and it's Dr. Loomis. Now, he's always been a bit of a crazy character. Right from his introduction in the original Halloween, he's been this very theatrical, overdramatic character, spouting tales of Michael's irredeemable evilness. He's gotten progressively more silly in his over-the-topness as the films have gone on, but always still managed to remain likable and enjoyable in his campy ridiculousness. But he's just completely off the rails in this one. Everything's dialed up to 11 for him, and he's unhinged. His interactions with Jamie are just wild, and this movie takes him beyond campy to just bad. Before I give you my rating and recommendations, I want to remind you that if you're interested in buying Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, or any of the other films I mentioned today, I do have affiliate links for all of them in the description below. I get a small commission from anything you buy using one of my links, so I'd really appreciate it if you'd use them if you're in the market for any of these movies. I'm gonna give Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, 2 out of 5 paws, and even that might be a little high. This is a very poor follow-up to Halloween 4, and a strange setup for Halloween 6. It has some memorable moments, but the story's a dull, incoherently jumbled mess that significantly changes previously introduced characters, including Michael Myers himself. I would recommend Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, mostly to Halloween completionists. If you're looking for a dumb slasher to throw on in the background, this might be okay. And if you're really interested in the Thorn trilogy storyline, you're stuck with watching this one because it's the middle movie, but there's really not much else to glean from this one. And fans of Halloween 4 and its ending will probably be very disappointed by the direction this one goes and what it does with its characters. If you liked Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, I would recommend Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. It's certainly no masterpiece, but the fourth film nicely balanced the tension of the first movie with some of the action slasher sensibilities of the 80s. It also introduces Jamie and Rachel and sets up for the story arc of the Thorn trilogy. If you liked the psychic connection idea briefly explored here, you might want to check out Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Obviously a very different story otherwise, but it's got a few similar psychic moments, plus it's the fifth film of the series and one of its worst. And if you liked watching Michael creatively kill his victims, you should check out Friday the 13th. That movie features plenty of scenes that are reminiscent of the barn sequence here, in just about every way. Alright, a couple questions for you guys. Number 1, have you seen Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers? If so, what'd you think of it? And number 2, what's a film that feels like it's primarily set up for a sequel? Be sure to leave your answers in the comments below so we can get a discussion going. Alright, so if you got some enjoyment, insight, or information out of this review, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit that like button. And if you haven't done so already, please hit subscribe while you're at it to see more videos like this. Till next time, this has been Alyssa with Mainly Movies. The way life should be.